Hi everyone, welcome to another home edition of Word of the Day, or today, Sound of the Day, Sounds of the Day, continuing with our phonology lessons, especially when it comes to Eastern Western Armenian differences. We're going to do another triad today. So we've done the t, the kind of T sounds, g, g, k, the K sounds. Today we'll do b, b, p, the kind of P, B sounds. But before I continue, just a note that these are general paradigms, right? Of course, as any of you who've studied any language know, whenever there's a rule, there are a ton of exceptions. And both Eastern and Western Armenian have a multitude of dialects. Each dialect has its own phonetic system. We're just giving you general distinctions here. I'm sure there are exceptions to them all, and we love it when you post your exceptions, so keep them coming, but keep that in mind, right? Even in Eastern Armenian, in most of these, I argue that Eastern Armenian maintains the three-way distinction, but sometimes that's not always the case. So we're just looking at kind of general tendencies, general patterns. So in Armenian, we have three letters for the kind of P or B sound. We have B, most of you will know this as B, right? We have B, Ben, and we have P, pure. So B, which I'm going to write as P, is your voiceless sound, okay? B is your voice sound. This is kind of your equivalent of the English B. So a voice sound means when you hold your fingers to your vocal cords, and when you say that sound, they vibrate, B, yeah? And P is your aspirated P sound, which means that a puff of air comes out. So if you hold your hand in front of your mouth and you say P, you should feel a puff of air. So B, voiceless. In English, even though we don't have a separate letter for B, you will hear it when you say words like spot, right? Spot. It's this voiceless P sound. You're not saying spot with a breath of air. You're saying spot. It's just we don't have a letter, a particular letter for that. So in Eastern Armenian, much like the phonetic system of Classical Armenian, you have three letters and three corresponding sounds, and those sounds are distinct from each other. So you have your voiceless B, you have your voiced B, and your aspirated P. Now in Western Armenian, you have the same three letters, but the corresponding sounds are different. Your voiceless B becomes a voiced B. So let's maybe write Western here, and we'll do Eastern here, okay? Your voiced B becomes an aspirated P, and your aspirated P remains an aspirated P. So look what happens. In Eastern Armenian, the three-way system of letters corresponds to a three-way system of sounds. B is B, B is B, P is P. In Western Armenian, your three-way system of letters corresponds to a two-way sound distinction. B is sounded as B, B and P are both sounded as P. So if we were to do maybe a set of three words here, oh, actually we can do it here. So let's say bot, and I'll transliterate. Let's say bod and pot. So bot, which means wall, in Eastern Armenian would be sounded out as bot, in Western Armenian bot. Bod, duck, in Eastern Armenian, in Western Armenian pot. Pot, to wrap something, right? Again, the P would remain a P in both. So in the case of this third aspirated one, both Eastern and Western sound the same. For Western, this one isn't frequently used or even recognized, and the voiced goes into the aspirated. The thing to keep in mind is that if you have a three-way sound distinction and a three-way letter distinction in Eastern, those three-way letter distinctions are reduced to a two-way phonetic distinction in Western. So again, just a general paradigm. I'm sure there are exceptions among dialects or speakers, but this is kind of a good overall sense of why the phonetics, especially in the consonants, sound a bit different in the two standards.